And now for the second half of our best man partnership, Jason.
Well done, Alan. Okay, here we go. Firstly, I'd like to launch straight into saying how beautiful Jenny and her glamorous entourage of mothers and bridesmaids look. You all look amazing. I first met Garry in 1985 when we were 5 in the school playground. I was shaping about the yard like a chicken, and he was wandering around with his head down in his little duffel coat, mumbling something about Kenneth being gone. Kenneth was some mysterious friend of his I can barely remember, who disappeared on holiday and never came back. When I try and remember this Kenneth character, I always picture him as a creepy grown man with a full beard, but Garry tells me I imagine that bit. So I said to him, my mum knows your mum, just to get things going. And he looked me up and down over his shoulder, and then just kept shuffling along in his little duffel coat. Just like, Kenneth gone. So I asked, do you want to be in my gang? And he's like, who's in it? I'm like, just me. And he was completely uninterested, just shrugging his little shoulders as he very often does. Too soon after Kenneth, maybe. Well, I kept annoying him for a few days because there was something interesting about him. He looked a little foreign. He was the only kid in school that had a tan. And I was thinking, maybe he was some kind of 1980s hitman. Maybe he whacked Kenneth. And also, I heard a rumour that he had all the Masked Men and Ninja Turtle toys. And naturally, wanted to play with them. A very famous character once said, you can't stay in your corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. You have to go to them sometimes. And Winnie the Pooh's never wrong. So that's what I did. And since then, we've been the very best of friends. And he is the brother I never had. We met Alan here 10 years or so later, who then became the sister Garry never had. And not only Garry, but his entire family have tolerated me over the years. Joan was always feeding me fancy dinners and treating me as one of her own. Dennis would let me get wasted on his homebrew and then beat me at pool. And Tony and Christopher, without any hesitation, treated me just like another brother. And it made for a really great and memorable childhood, and one that's helped make me the very happy person I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. Garry and I worked together in three different jobs over the years. Everything from washing buckets in a factory, to selling shoes, to designing fire sprinklers. Doodling. It was whilst selling shoes in Arnott's, a shoe shop, that I remember the day when Garry first met the lovely Jenny. Jenny tells me I was wearing a lovely wine-coloured shirt and tie set from Dunay's boutique. And Garry was in ladies' shoes. It was obvious from the beginning, at least to the rest of us, that they were the perfect match. It was the way Jenny would giggle or touch her hair, or the way Garry would shrug his shoulders a little bit differently. And like Alan, I was living in Australia when I heard the news that they finally got together, and I was really over the moon for both of them. It was a real Ross and Rachel moment. I've always been great friends with Jenny, and we've had a great laugh together over the years. And it was brilliant to finally see Garry with someone truly deserving of him, and someone who I knew could make him happy. It's customary to give the groom a bit of a roast, which I think would be easy having known him as long as I can remember. Gary's a very funny fella, great to be around, but he is famously quiet and reserved. He doesn't waste his words. Over the years, there's been really only two ways to animate Garry when he's sober. Either mention Man United, or mention his beautiful bride, Jenny. He really does look absolutely stunning today. The comedy is really in what he doesn't say, in funny situations where clearly something must be said. He just shrugs his shoulders and says, "Meh," like a mafia boss. I'd be like, "Hey, Garry." "Hey, Garry. Did you hear Gav went to Scotland and fathered a child?" And he'd be like, "Fair play to him." Or I'd be like, "Hey, Garry, did you hear Dave went to Australia and shrank 2 feet?" And he'd be like, "He's too tall anyway." He's managed to keep himself squeaky clean over the years, and I admire him for that. But it makes it really hard to think of something to tease him about. Well, until last night at least. When Garry chose to spend his last night of freedom sharing my spare bed, cuddled up with his other best man, Alan. But that scandal aside, Garry and Jenny are the perfect match, the perfect couple, and priceless friends. I'm delighted, honoured and privileged to be in their lives and in their stories so far, and I know we'll all be grown old together and be friends for life. So please raise your glass and join me in wishing the very best that life can offer for my brother Garry and his beautiful sister-in-law Jenny. And my beautiful sister-in-law. Oh, did so well at the end. I messed it up. Yeah, you know what I meant. Thanks. Congratulations, both of you.